everyone's going to have their own little section here. Daniel's going to go through everything to do with capital and how it can help you grow your business. Nadav is going to be talking about logistics and 3PLs and how they can save money and help with growth. And John will be talking about how to solve some of the more common problems that are going to come up for sellers, as well as a bit about how you can grow your business without necessarily hiring. I will now pass it over. Daniel, take it away.
Thank you. I would like to upload my presentation. 1 second, please. Here we go. So can everybody see? Can you see my the presentation?
Yep, perfect.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Make it full screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see it now? Is everything okay?
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Richard, for the introduction. My name is Daniel Le I'm the CEO of CapEc. CapEc specializes in capital for e-commerce. And I'm going to talk today about utilizing external capital in 2022. Okay, so my first and main message to all our listeners is that growth requires capital. Utilizing external funding option is not a last resort, but a natural event in the growth cycle of every business. Most traditional businesses use external capital. Why not e-commerce sellers? So the key trends we see for 2022, I'm going to go over them quickly. First and foremost, of course, the increase in online purchases. We saw 40% growth in the last 2 years. We don't see any reason why it should stop here. Inflation, of course, everybody's talking about it in the financial news, rising prices, the supply chain crunch, which we do not know how to predict if it will carry on or will not carry on, but I can say that all our clients have experienced it in one way or another. And relatively high shipping prices, I wouldn't say relatively high if we talk about since 2019, that the container went for $3,000 to $5,000 sending from China to the US. Today it's around 25,000. Uncertain delivery times, things takes more time to deliver across the Atlantic and also inside the US. Shipping queues, both air, sea, and land. Although they're doing everything they can to solve this problem, but we still see it continuing 2022. Limited storage space, as you know, in Amazon fulfillment centers. It's increased because of the increase in online purchases. There are more players in the e-commerce arena, so it's more competition, more professionalism, and in the supply chain crunch created another problem. Let's call it another challenge of unsold inventory and higher product returns rate. That I think we saw highest ever rates in the end of, we talked about it before, highest ever rates of returning product returns at the end of 2021, which created a situation that you still have inventory, but you also have to order more inventory to answer your clients' demands. So we have 4 major challenges that we see. First of all, higher inventory levels are required. Second thing, of course, is higher costs due to higher inventory required and, of course, inflation. The supply chain payments embody between 4 to 6 months for initial return on investment, because, as you know, all of us know it, between paying for your inventory till receiving it in the US, it takes at least 3 months, and in some cases even more. So it takes between 4 to 6 months until you start returning your investment that you made. And of course, competition requires us to scale our activity faster. All the challenges I mentioned create a negative cash flow. So meaning more money is tied up in the supply chain. All of us know it, are familiar with this cash flow example, but I want to present it to you because we're going to be running with it throughout the presentation. So our basic assumption, we all know it, all of us have encountered such a situation. Let's say our cost is $100,000 of manufacturing, say 70,000 and 30,000 for delivering it to the US. The down payment most of us pay to our suppliers is 30% in order to initiate production. And an optimal, not optimal, but let's say in the best scenario, so we set it at times 3.5 of the cost. So it's 350,000 on the cost of 100,000. This assumption takes into consideration that we're going to sell the inventory over 5 months with a net profit margin of 20%. So our profit is 70,000 on an investment of 100,000 equity. So the profit on equity is 70%. The reason I'm showing this to you, because this is going to be an example that we're going to run on throughout the presentation. Okay. So there are a few possible funding solutions that I've encountered whilst dealing with e-commerce sellers. First is utilizing your own capital. Sometimes it's limited, but each and every, that's the first solution that most e-commerce sellers that I have encountered use. They look at their own capital as the major financing solution. The second thing is external investment in exchange for equity, having a partner giving up equity for investment of a partner. And the third is, of course, what I'm going to talk about today, the external funding solution. 1 second, please. Okay, there are two funding categories. First is the banking financing category, and the second is the non-banking financing category. So, of course, the pros of the bank financing is the lowest rates and the acknowledged establishments. The cons, they're not available to everyone, especially not e-commerce, and they mostly require significant guarantees. And it's mostly a slow process. It takes a lot of the e-commerce sellers that we attend to need capital from today to tomorrow or 2 weeks notice, and banks work slower. The non-bank financing the pros are availability and flexibility. The cons are, of course, higher costs in comparison to the bank. A few examples for non-banking financings are invitees plans only offered by specific platforms, and rev share or long-term commitment plans that all kinds of companies offer. And of course, there's inventory funding schemes that CapEc, for example, offers. Okay, in order to understand why we need financing, first let's try to look at the structure of e-com expenses. So first, we have the inventory purchase and shipping, which present a long return on investment. As I explained before, as you all know, it takes between 2 to 4 months until we receive our inventory. So basically, it's a long return on investment. In order to the purchase of inventory is a long return on investment. Sorry. The second expense is the cost of sales. It's selling fees and fulfillment fees. These fees are mostly, immediate return on investment because they're part of the selling cost, basically. So you sell, but it's part of your selling cost, so the return on investment is immediate. The third cost is marketing cost, which is mostly short-term return on investment, let's say maximum month, because let's say, for example, PPC, you advertise, and within a very short period, you start selling your products. So the return on investment is very short. Potential solution for funding such expenses is short-term funding or equity, of course. And the fourth expense is salaries or overhead costs, which this is a very long-term return on investment. So the solution is either working capital or equity. Okay, another thing I would like to talk about, 1 second, please. Another thing most important thing I want to talk about is how to compare between the offers that you receive from different funding solutions. First is the funding period. For how long do you require the capital? When do you start repaying the capital? And when do you pay the commission? These are fundamental questions that you have to ask. The second thing is the required collateral and application to the overall credit score. Third thing, are there any additional requirements that arise from your, do you have to fund more than one purchase order? All kind of, what are your personal guarantees are required? All kind of different, some hidden, some obvious, that you have to check when you compare between the offers. Another thing you have to ask, I've encountered a lot of times, many e-commerce sellers say, okay, but the bank rates are much lower, but banks do not always finance e-commerce sellers. So is the solution available for you? That's another question you should ask. And of course, the cost of capital. Okay, I would like to talk a second about CapEc solution. So first and foremost, CapEc provides capital for up to 75% of production and shipping costs. And the second thing is we connect to the required payments on the schedule of the suppliers. We try to keep the time money as is spent to minimum. We really connect to when you exactly need the money. Third thing is CapEc pays the supplier directly on behalf of the client. And our clients start repaying only after the arrival of the inventory to the 3PL. So it's basically pay as you sell. You sell your products, you have enough money to repay for the purchase. Our underwriting is based only on the online activity. And we, of course, use our professionalism to suggest the optimal repayment schedule based on expected sales. The only collateral we require is the inventory, and we utilize our collective knowledge and business connections to the benefit of our clients. We are because we tend to quite a few e-commerce sellers, we have a lot of connections throughout the supply chain. We utilize all of these to the benefit of our clients to improve their supply chain. It's a very important thing that we do. Okay, I would like to emphasize, we're going to use the example I presented before, how to utilize external capital to finance your activity. So we're going to refer to the same example, that the cost of inventory and purchase, the production and the shipping is $100,000. The total down payment by the seller is 30%, because now he's utilizing CapEc as an external funding solution. And we provide 70% of the funding. We expect the sales to be over a period of 5 months, so it's 5 repayments. And CapEx commission on the funding is around 10%, so it's $7,000. Again, we're selling at times 3.5 of the cost, so its turnover is 350,000, and the net profit margin stays at 20%. So basically, we see that the profit is 63,000 on 30,000 that was invested. So it's 210% profit on equity. Because again, we invested 30,000 and we earned 63,000. This is more or less the same example. Again, you invested 100,000, you earned 20% of the selling cost, which is 70,000, which represents 70% profit on equity. While utilizing external capital, your investment is 30,000, right? And your net profit is 63,000. So your profit on equity is 210,000. This example shows how you kept the total cost, you invested less and earned more profit on your equity. That's one of the biggest advantages of utilizing external capital. So basically, we saw we we enhanced our available cash flow. Instead of spending 100,000, we spent only 30,000, leaves us $70,000 that we have to other usages. If it's, we talked about salaries, we talked about marketing costs, or whatnot. We increased our ROI ×3. And of course, as you know, when you buy more, then you pay less. If you buy half a container, the difference between the cost of half a container to a whole container to send is 20 or 30% difference. So you buy more, both on products and on shipping, and you sell less. Today, the shipping costs are a substantial cost of our total cost, so it's something you have to take into consideration. The second thing, also important, is of course scaling your activity. We all want to grow our business. As I said at the beginning, in order to scale your business, you have to have capital. So this is example exhibits how we utilize external capital to scale your activity. Same example, inventory, total cost of 100,000, profit 20%, so it's 70,000 of 350,000 that we earned over the turnover. In this case, we keep the $100,000 that we spent, but this time it represents only 30% of the overall inventory purchase. CapEc funds you 70%, which is $233,000. So the total cost, or the total inventory and shipping, is $333,000. That's your ability now. You can buy with $333,000. Same, keeping the same basic fundamental of the example, 10% for 5 payments. So the cost of capital is 23,000, selling price times 3.5 of the cost. So it's 1,165,000, and the profit stays at 20%. So the profit is $233,000. Our net profit, which is a $23,000 minus the cost of capital, is $210,000, which represents a 300% growth on the profit, that the same investment you made without external capital. So, and the profit on equity is 210%. These are examples I'm giving you in order to emphasize how you should use external capital to scale your activity and enhance your selling abilities. So basically, we enhance our available cash flow, we increase our ROI ×3 and profit by 300%. And of course, buying more costs less. So in order to, if we have to sum up my presentation shortly, so first of all, 2022 forecasts require e-commerce sellers to make financial preparation. I think as the market is getting more professional, you have to utilize external funding solution. Funding should be as close as possible to your sales rate. Time is money. That's a very important thing that I keep emphasizing. So you don't want the money for a long period. You want it for as short as possible period, or exact for your for what you need. Inventory funding is a great fit for e-commerce sellers based on our experience. And by utilizing external capital, you can improve your cash flow and profitability, purchase 3 times more and receive quantity discounts, enhancing your overall profit and increasing the valuation of your activity. Thank you for your time. It was a little, maybe a lot of financial examples. Sometimes people lose me, so I'll be happy to answer your questions either by mail or by telephone. I'm available for any question. Check out our activity at capecinc.com, and we'd be happy to continue corresponding with you. And thank you, Richard. Over to you.
Oh, thank you, Daniel. That was great. Saying to John in the background there that it was extremely educational. I didn't know 90% of the stuff on there, so that was awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Nadav, we'll hand over to you now. Are you ready to go?
Yes, hi. Let me share my screen.
Fire away.
Okay, you all see the presentation? Yes, okay, great. So nice to meet you all. My name is Nadav Gorlitki, and I'm one of the founders of 3PL Winner. 3PL Winner is a logistics warehousing solution for online sellers. And we offer basically a one-stop shop for anything, all the logistics services that an online seller would need. 3PL services. We'll talk today about the different services that a 3PL can give you, the advantages of working with a 3PL, things to consider when choosing a 3PL, very important questions on asking a 3PL provider to understand the services and see that they fit you, the common challenges when working with a 3PL, and very, very important ways to save money when working with a 3PL. Basically today, I think there isn't an online seller that doesn't work with a 3PL. Since Amazon closed its limits, everybody needs to send product to a third-party logistics warehouse and then replenish their inventory in Amazon. And also when you're working with other platforms, obviously you need a 3PL solution to send your product to the customers. So the basic solutions that you are looking for in your logistics chain after the product arrived to the country that you're selling at, in this case, we'll be talking about the US, is storage. You want to be able to store your product in a warehouse, sometimes long-term, sometimes short-term. You want to be able to, that the warehouse will be able to receive the product, obviously, and put it into inventory, fulfill the product, whether it's to an Amazon replenishment center or to a B2C, to an end customer. You want to be able to follow your inventory, hopefully with an online system in real time, so you always know how much inventory you have. As online sellers, we're familiar with problems that we might encounter along the way where we need different types of jobs or on our inventory, whether it's kitting or relabeling or bundling or some kind of change of our product, and all kinds of packaging solutions if we're sending it to B2C in a different way, if we want to have special packaging for our products. So the advantages of working with a 3PL, working with a good 3PL will first of all allow you to spend less time dealing with the logistics side of it and be able to grow your brand. If you have a good logistics partner that's giving you a strong structure for your logistics solutions, you can emphasize your time in growing your brand and dealing with selling your product. It enables you to sell on all platforms. Once you have product in a fulfillment center that's able to do B2C, you can also sell not only on Amazon, but also on Walmart and eBay and Jet or Shopify, because you can send your product from the same warehouse. You can scale up without being tied to long-term warehouse lease. If you wanted to rent your own place, you're renting a certain size of warehouse long-term, you don't know where your product's going. Here in our e-commerce industry, everything's very dynamic. You could triple your business in a year, or you might go down during COVID or something like that and not have any work for 5 to 10 months. And so you don't want to be tied up to a lease or to something that's not dynamic. And knowing in real time what's happening with your inventory is very important. Obviously, just like we're used to having in Amazon, when we send product to Amazon, we're able to see every unit, how much we have, how much of the units are not available for sale because they're in returns, and how much do we have of every product. We want to see the same thing in all our inventory in the warehouse so that we can make real-time decisions of how much inventory we need and where do we want to send it. If you have a warehouse that offers you all these services in one place, it's going to save you a lot of costs in logistics, because moving inventory is very costly, especially today since the logistics cost rose so much. If you need to send your inventory from a warehouse to a B2C solution like Deliver or Shipball, then you're going to pay for another transfer of your inventory. Moving the inventory from the warehouse to Amazon also costs you money. So basically, you want to try to move your inventory the least as possible, and also distance-wise, also the least as possible. Because every meter the inventory moves, and every time someone touches it, it's costing you money. So you want to build your chain of logistics so it has the least amount of movements. So things to consider when you're working with a 3PL. You want to have a very good mechanism in the 3PL, a very strong company that gives you all the solutions you need so that you can deal with your business and not have to deal much with the logistics side of it. You save time, you save money. If you're working with one 3PL, then you have a lot less overhead to manage it. And what are the challenges of the business? Are you looking to grow? What are your current needs and what are your future needs? These are things that are very, very important when going to find a 3PL. You need to know today exactly how much space do you need and how much space do you think you will need in another 6 months, because you don't want to find yourself when you're growing and you're actually succeeding and everything's going great, and now the 3PL that you're working with doesn't have any.
Hey, Nadav. Hey,
Sorry to interrupt you, Nadav. Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. It's either your microphone or your internet. I'm not sure which one.
Oh, really?
Are you using AirPods? It sounds like my AirPods when I start breaking up.
It's the earphones. I can cancel that one step.
It doesn't seem to have helped so far.
All right, the joys of webinars.
Okay. How do you hear me now? Is that better?
A little bit better. Carry on talking. I'll let you know if it breaks up again.
Okay. So I'll go back to knowing your needs as a business. When going to work with a 3PL, you have to really know your current needs, how much space you need and what type of services you need, and also what you're gonna need in another 6 months to 12 months, because you don't want to find yourself exactly when you're growing and you're succeeding to be blocked by the solutions you're working with that will tell you we don't have room or we can't meet these amounts of orders per day. And then you have to, instead of enjoying the growth and really growing with your business, you have to try to find now another solution and put a Band-Aid on a successful growth. So you need to always consider where you're going to be in 12 months when choosing a 3PL. So some questions that are very good to ask a 3PL when you're talking to different solutions. What services does the 3PL provide? Does it give you all the solutions you're looking for, whether it's receiving your inventory in containers also? Can they palletize your product? Can they send the product to Amazon for you in pallets and in boxes? Can they give you a B2C solution? Can they receive returns? Can they do jobs and kitting that you might need on your inventory? If you can find a place that gives you all of them in one company, then obviously, like I said before, you're going to save a lot on moving inventory and on managing all these solutions in different places. Where is the 3PL located? This is very, very important also for knowing your business from the slide before. You want to be able to be close to where your product's going to go. First of all, obviously, the product is coming from somewhere. So if it's coming from China, you want something around the West Coast that has very close shipping costs to China. If it's coming from Europe, then you might want something on the East Coast because you want to save on the shipping costs. On the other hand, if you're an Amazon seller and you plan on sending most of that inventory to Amazon, you need to build plans beforehand and see what warehouses does Amazon give you. You could be a seller that all your inventory Amazon sends to East Coast warehouses. Then even though you're coming from China, it's not financial for you to bring your inventory to a West Coast warehouse. You're just going to pay to ship it through trucks to the Amazon warehouses, and that's going to cost you much more. So you have to understand, for one, where are you coming from, and two, where are you going? Also, if you're doing B2C, where are your customers? Are you sending more B2C to the West Coast, more to the East Coast? So you want your inventory to come to the best place, and that way you're going to save a lot on the shipping, outgoing. And the outgoing shipping a lot of times is a very high percentage of the profit margin of the product. If you make a mistake here, you can find yourself losing all your profits. How many customers do you have? When you're talking to a 3PL, you want to see if it's a robust and large 3PL. So you want to ask them, how many customers do they manage today? Can they give you some customers to talk to and see that they're enjoying the service and everything's working well? What's the size of the facility? If it's a 10, 20,000 square foot facility, it's not a big business. It might be good and boutique for what you need today, but when you grow further on, most likely it won't be able to help you. You want to try to find a facility that's at least 100,000 square feet that can handle thousands of pallets. This gives you the confidence that tomorrow, if you want to send a couple containers, they'll be able to service you. How much available space do they have for your inventory? Wait. You guys lost me, right?
I can still hear you when you paused. I can hear you.
I can hear.
I still hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. And so how much available space do we have for the inventory is very important. You want the 3PL to give you a guarantee that they'll be able to receive your peaks in Q4 and also your growth next year. What's the pricing model? Every 3PL has a different pricing model. It's a lot of times very complicated. You need to really learn the different types of fees and to be able to compare them, because a lot of 3PLs will have hidden fees that you won't feel them until you start working, and at that point it's a little too late, because to start changing a 3PL is a huge headache. So you want to really understand the fees. You can ask the 3PL to give you an example. Tell them what's your purchase order, what's the inventory you're going to send, what's going to be the fees to receive it, what's going to be the fees to store it, and what's going to be the fees to send it out later on. Are there any minimum monthly fees? A lot of 3PLs will want a minimum fee of a few $1,000s a month. You need to know that your business can support that minimum long term, because you might find yourself in certain low months like January, February, March, that you're not bringing any new inventory, that you'll be paying the minimum even though you're not using that amount, and you're losing money on that. So you need to see that also it fits your business, that minimum fee. Common challenges. I think a lot of this we talked about also in the slide before, but like I said, the pricing model and the locations are two things that are very, very important. And at the end, finding the right 3PL for you will save you a lot of money and be able to allow you to concentrate on growing your business. Customer service, like I said, try to talk to customers of the 3PL to see that they're giving good service. A one-stop shop. The more you have services in from one provider will save you a lot of money. and an online self-service portal. Most of us online sellers are used to working on Amazon, doing everything in our own time frame, wherever we're located. We want to be able to go into an online portal, see what we have, what's our inventory, put in all our orders, do all our work, and not have to talk to anyone, and not have to email anyone, and not have to work at the 3PL's time zone. We want to work at our time zone, so we want to have all this available to us online. It takes time to find a 3PL, so don't be rushed to make a decision. Do your homework, ask all these questions. It'll save you a lot of money in the long run. Now, some tips on really how to save money when managing your logistics. So first of all, like I said before, understanding your shipping cost and where you're shipping to. So know exactly your inventory once it was received in the location of the 3PL you chose. From there, where's that inventory going? What are the costs going to be? So you can put it into your model and see that it fits your profit margins, and that you are familiar with exactly the costs you're going to have per product. When working with Amazon, there's FBA and there's also FBM. You can also ship your product through a 3PL. When you have to split your inventory between a 3PL and Amazon, a lot of this happens because of Amazon limits. And also, sometimes depends on the product, the size and weight, and where you want to ship it to. You might be more financial not to put the product in Amazon. If a product is small, and then a lot of times 3PL costs of the storage are cheaper. The shipping is usually about the same, including the pick and pack. And the larger products, a lot of times Amazon is much cheaper. So when you consider, if you have limits in your inventory, let's say you can only send 4,000 units to your account and you have 10,000 units of product, you want to check exact the prices per product and understand which products you should send to Amazon and which products you might want to leave in the 3PL, and you won't be losing much profit or any in the profit margin. Take advantage of the shipping rates of a 3PL. Most 3PLs, because they ship a lot for all their customers, they have a lot better shipping rates than what you would have as a seller on your own. So know the shipping rates per product that you have, and also make sure to understand exactly the cost per zone. Shipping a product from California to Nevada will not be the same price as shipping it to New York. So even on that case, even there you can put in Amazon that if I'm shipping the products to California, Nevada, Arizona, I want it to go by FBM. And if it's going to New York, I want it to go by FBA. You can play with those things, and that's a huge advantage. By the way, when it comes to FBA and FBM, it's also something I always recommend to all our customers. You set up the FBM so that at least if tomorrow your FBA runs out of inventory because you sent new product but Amazon didn't receive it yet, or you have limits and it didn't go in, you never run out of inventory. The FBA runs out, the FBM kicks in. You might make a little less on the FBM, but at least you won't disappear and you won't lose your position in Amazon and on your searches. One-stop shop, like I said, when you consolidate your inventory, sending it to one location, you're saving a lot of money. So if you can send a full container, a 40-foot, to a 3PL, and from that same location, send to Amazon, send to your B2C, do everything from one place, then you're going to save a lot on your shipping costs instead of splitting it up to multiple LTL shipments that you send pallets to Amazon, pallets to a B2C solutions, and pallets to a long-term solution for later on. So you want to try to consolidate and get everything you can from one service provider. This is a huge tip, by the way, that most people don't understand. You have to really plan your inventory. You have to take your product and see how you build your master cases. Master case, at the end of the day, you can put 2 products inside, 20 products inside, or 25 products. Obviously, if we're working with Amazon, you have to work under their master pack regulations, meaning no more than 25 inches and no more than 50 pounds. But if you make a box that's 25 inches and the pallet is 48, you can only fit 1 box on a pallet. If you take it down to 24 by 20, you can fit 2 boxes on that same pallet. Most 3PLs charge you per box. So you want your box to be the largest possible, because every time they touch a box, you pay money. So you want the most products you can fit into a box. It'll save you money when the 3PL works on the boxes, and it'll also save you money when you're shipping the boxes to Amazon. On the other hand, you still want to keep the boxes in a way so that you maximize the pallet usage. So as you can see here, 24 by 21 by 20, even by 17, would have only given me the ability to put 4 boxes on a pallet. On the other hand, if I just lose that 1 inch on the width, I can fit now 4 on the bottom. And if I make it 17, I even get another row. So I'm putting 12 boxes by hardly changing just a few inches on my box, maybe taking off 1 product in my master box. I'm getting, instead of 4, 12. I'm getting 3 times more inventory per pallet. I'm saving on the amount of storage. I'm saving on the receiving fee on pallets. I'm saving on the shipping fees when I send it to Amazon per pallet. I'm saving all along the way. This is something that most customers don't even look into. Their manufacturer tells them there's 12 in a box and that's how it comes. No, you can change that. It's very simple, and it's a huge money saver if you do it right. Thank you. 3PL winner. You can look us up online. We'll be happy to help you and give you solutions. Right now, we're located in California. We're a huge facility. This year, we're also opening New Jersey and Texas. So we'll be nationwide before Q4. And anything you might need or help, also consultancy, any one of our salespeople in our team is always happy to help and consult you on how to organize your inventory and how to work in the most efficient manner when it comes to building your logistics solutions. Thank you, Richard. Back to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nadav. That was also really, really interesting and had tons of stuff I didn't know in it. So I'm sure everyone watching will feel the same. Especially the boxes. I had no idea about that. Okay. Finally, last but not least, over to John to talk about Seller Candy and fixing some of those problems now you've got your logistics sorted.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm just gonna move you guys around. So you have your money. You have your warehousing sorted. Now, what happens when you actually have issues on Amazon? And what are you going to spend your time on now that you've got this money and you want to be growing your business? Who's going to be running the actual site, Amazon side of your business? And just as a side note, don't cheap out on your 3PL. Nadav was very kind to other 3PLs there. There's a lot of pirates out there. So do your research and make sure you talk to some good people. So one slide, what does Seller Candy do? Basically, Seller Candy does anything you can raise a ticket on inside Amazon Seller Central, just giving you that background before we dive in to some educational content. If you do want to take a screenshot of what we do, here's our menu of services. Feel free to take a screenshot and you can look at it later. And it's just a useful reference guide to what Seller Candy can do for you. A little tiny bit about me before we go in, so you know what I'm talking about. Founder and CEO of Seller Candy. We've sold more than $5 million from our own brands on the Amazon platform before we exited those. Sold $1 million worth of consulting. before we exited that. And I've run Amazon-related businesses for the last 6 years, 7 years now, actually, I think. And because of that, I got to become a consultant, speak at these type of conferences, speak at webinars, and travel around the world. It's a good excuse to travel. It was before COVID anyway. So let's get started. So what we called this talk is Getting Out of Amazon Template Response Hell, Advanced Problem Solving and Seller Central Hacks. We're going to go through pretty quickly because we've got a limited amount of time and I respect everyone's time. So we may skip through a couple of the examples. We're going to go quite technical on some of these. So I'm going to go through the most technical one, and then we'll skip quickly through the least technical one, because I always think it's better if someone's going to watch this back, they can do solve the really hard to solve things rather than just the easy to solve things. Everyone ready? All right, cool. So part one, solving seller central problems effectively. So we're going to go through how to solve things faster, more efficiently, without setting up intricate systems and really having to have a 20-point checklist. Then we're going to go through how to know what to give your team or assistant. So this is going to be how to analyze for yourself what to give your assistant or your team, or even do yourself on your Amazon business, and what's going to give you the most ROI for doing first in your Amazon business. And number three is just a couple of slides on how Seller Candy could support you if you're interested. So part one, how to solve problems more effectively, faster, and without driving yourself crazy, basically. So, you have a performance notification. It's a suspended listing, and everyone knows who's behind these suspended listings. It's not our amazing Daniel. It's another bald man, Mr. Bezos. Thanks for being the brunt of that one, Daniel. So this is exactly how agents go about solving a listing suspension immediately. So you've got your listing suspension. What you do is you raise a case to Seller Central to ask what they believe it is. So I know this is a no-brainer, but it's a long shot. But don't panic. Raise a case immediately. Tell them what you received. Send them a screenshot because they might not know what you've received, and then see what they say. Then the next step. There's a step that isn't on this slide, but it's super important. The next step is to download all of your listing flat files. So anyone that's a seller, you've seen the flat file and the bulk file upload in the back end of your Amazon account. I need to actually make a slide for this. Note that, Richard. What we need to do is you go into your case log, you raise a case, you say, please enable my category listing report. So what they do is they'll enable that for you. They know what that is, they'll enable it for you, and that lets you download a flat file of all of your listings. So you've got this as a reference document. And then we use that reference document. So if it's a product policy complaint you've received, so one of the more common ones, something like a product policy, there's something that Amazon doesn't like about it, you've got a pesticide warning, then you need to sanitize your listing. What that means, you go into your listing in your category listing report, you start deleting all the words which Amazon doesn't like. So you'll know your products. Amazon doesn't like basically anything to do with antibacterial, anything to do with claims, anything to do with health. We just remove everything to make it as simple and basic as possible. If your listing says this is a slice of bread, then you're probably okay. So next, authenticity. So if Amazon says you're selling inauthentic products, you get your invoices. And because Amazon can't read invoices, you have to annotate everything. So you put a box around the company name of your company, box around the supplier, box around the product, number of products, and then label it and say, this is what this means. And that's the quickest way to get things sorted. IP violation. So if it's an IP violation, you need to reach out to the brand owner. So this could be this could be either a competitor trying to take you down, which is then you've just got to reach out to Amazon, or it could be your legitimate misuse of a mark you didn't know was trademarked. So for example, you said, I'm selling roof racks compatible with Jeeps, but you just said Jeep roof racks. And then they might have made a complaint that they thought you were selling a counterfeit item. Or there's even a lot of terms in the US and in the UK and EU that people have coined a term which you might think is general usage, but it's actually owned by a brand. And if so, they'll flag you, you need to get back up. Product safety issues. So this is safety issue or high return rate. You just need to prepare a plan of action. Amazon will tell you what they want. The main thing when preparing a plan of action is to not claim, not act like the victim, always admit your fault, even when you're not at fault. Most of the time you aren't at fault. But if you said, oh, I'm sorry, I did that, even if it was nothing you did, you'll get back so much more quickly. It's never worth arguing with Amazon because you can never get through to a person that can actually make a decision. Hazmat. So if it's a hazmat issue, it means that Amazon thinks you've got some kind of ingredient in there which isn't allowed. So if you do have some ingredients you think are on the edge, could be something flammable, could be something liquid, then you should have a sheet for it. You can get that from your manufacturer or create one yourself or get it done from a testing lab. And if it doesn't, which is half the time, you just need to fill in an SDS exemption sheet, tell Amazon that they've just flagged it for no reason. Please enable my listing again. And I think that's the initial steps. So you've done all this, you've done your initial steps. What if it doesn't work? Which is the majority of the time. So once you've done this, you've uploaded it, Amazon's, flashed your listing, it's not showing. So the quickest way to solve this and the scariest way is to delete the listing. So once you've done the upload, so you've sanitized your flat file, you downloaded this thing, you've updated it, you've re-uploaded it to Amazon, still not working, you delete the listing from your catalog. So you go in, delete it, wait 24 full hours, and then re-upload it immediately. And what that does is that refreshes it on the Amazon system. You don't need to worry about this. You won't lose your reviews. I can see someone saying you won't lose your listings. You won't have any major issues, but it's scary the first time you do it. But Amazon's catalog is totally separate from your seller account. Once you've uploaded the product, it's not on your account anymore. It's in Amazon's central catalog. And then if that still doesn't work, this is when the time investment comes in. You've got to call. You've got to call Amazon, hammer them on the phone again and again and again until you get through and resolve the issue. What the benefit is of this now, though, is you have a paper trail. You've raised a case, you've uploaded the flat file, you've got the upload number, because when you upload a flat file, it gives you a bulk upload number. So you can call Amazon and quote all of that information, and they should be able to fix it for you. Because if you do this the other way around and you call them to start with, they'll just pass you around Teams for 2 or 3 hours, and then they'll cut you off because they don't know how to do it. So this is the real way to fix these things. Awesome. So you can see there wasn't a magic pill. And our ethos is if I can tell them exactly how to solve the issue, they can follow my process as opposed to me trying to figure out what their process is. So the breakdown of that process is you download Amazon's flat file, the category listing report for your listing. You make some edits, you create a clean version. You then delete the listing and wait for 24 hours before re-uploading the file. And then you call until you get it solved. So I know we're going through this pretty quickly. So if anyone has any questions, put them in the chat and I'll answer them at the end. So in pictorial form, because I like pictures, you download it, you edit it, you delete it, and then you re-upload it and you call Amazon. So calling until you get to the result. Otherwise, everyone just gives up really. So we're turning the issue resolution process on its head. By giving Amazon the solution before we start, we make it 10 times quicker for us to get these type of problems solved. And how about another? So actually, I'm going to skip the another so we can get in. Oh no, 1 second. We have to look at Mr. Bezos' beautiful face. I think I stole this from The Economist, and it's quoted as Pete Ryan on the bottom. So great. So we have a bit about removing reviews, but I'm going to skip through that this time because it's easier than what we just did. So the main point of this is actually you can request feedback removal as you always did, but Amazon no longer automatically removes feedback. If you have an issue, you have to open a case and never let it close, because if it closes, it's much more difficult for Amazon to open it again. Oh, I did it very quickly. There we go. So now you've showed that we have to solve some problems, well, some of the biggest problems actually, which is the suspensions and the hardest issues in my account. But how do we know what to give our teams, and how do we know what we should be working on as Amazon sellers to get the results the quickest? So part 2 is how to know what to give your team or assistant so you can pinpoint the high impact areas in your business and pick up the money that you're leaving on the table. Said in 2 different ways. So what we do is you do an Amazon Seller Central gap review. So basically what we're doing is we're applying a consulting process to your Amazon business to evaluate all aspects of your Amazon presence provide all logical steps that you should take to smash your revenue goals, give you a fresh perspective and unbiased view of what you're doing now. And then you can use our triage system, which you can take from us, to decide what's going to make the biggest impact on your business for the lowest time and cost. So we're also going to shoot through this pretty quickly. So first, you need to analyze your business. So this is taking a 30,000-foot view of your business from above, so you can really see what's going to make the biggest impact if you make a change. So first, we start with the Seller Central backend, going through all of your settings, all of the different menus, your brand stores, basically everything on the back end of your seller account, looking for anything which should be different, and using your knowledge as a seller for, what should be different and what you think shouldn't be the way it is. Then we look through listings. So this is actually going through every one of your listings through a fine-tooth comb, with a fine-tooth comb. Like, I know most of us, we create our listings, something happens, we don't see it because we're blind. We look at the same listings every day, or we have a VA doing it and they get used to it. So looking through everything, checking its titles as we want, the images as we want, the bullets as we want, and really making sure that it's as it should be. Then diving into the marketing. So are keywords wasting money? Have we spent a lot of money on stuff which actually isn't going to ever convert? Do we have the right match types? Like, are we really, managing our marketing in the best way possible? Buy box percentages. So this is actually anything in the account health dashboard, anything which says, isn't as it should be, that we've kind of left recently because we've been busy working on other things. Account health issues, anything else, like I said, like suspensions or account health warnings or voice of the customer, where you've got a high return rate and it's a risk of this thing actually getting suspended relatively soon. And then expansion opportunities. So I've got a whole other talk on expansion opportunities, but what can we do to expand more quickly, getting some money off Daniel, getting some off Daniel and CapEc, hopefully not Daniel personally, getting your 3PL sorted with Nadav, and then what you're going to do with that capital. Like, does your supplier have a whole catalog of other products? And how can you very quickly get into that catalog and get really good terms off them, combined with the extra capital you've got to massively grow your business? If you can get 60 to 90-day payment terms at the same time as working with Daniel, then you can you can be massively in positive cash flow. So number 2, impact. So how much difference will it really make? So you've been through, you've created usually a Google Sheet with all of these things from the previous slide. So you've come up with maybe 20 to 50 different issues with your business that you'd solve if you had the unlimited amount of time in the world. So now you need to look at each section from element 1 point by point and evaluate what's going to make the biggest difference. So we score this from 1 to 10. 1, why is it on this list? 10, if I change this, my business is going to change. I'm going to be a multi-millionaire next week. And then this takes the stress out of knowing what you should be working on. So you've got all these items now scored from 1 to 10. Then you make 2 more columns. 1 is cost and 1 is time. So you want to evaluate how much time it's going to take to fix something. Again, 1 to 10 is a good scale. 1, again, should have done it while I was looking at it. And 10, I'm probably not going to fix this before I'm dead. Then you approximate how much it's going to cost to fix the problem. 1 being free and 10 being more than I can afford. And then you check this against the impact, because there's no point throwing time and money against something that's not going to make a big difference. So you've got your three metrics now, which brings us to the final element, which is priority. So we looked at objectively at the list and to see what we should be working on right now. So we multiply through these 3 numbers to give us an overall score, and that's our priority score. So once we've got a priority score for each of these items, we can then sort the list because we're in Excel or we're in Google Sheets and we have our list. This gives us an objective view of what you should be working on right now in your Amazon business. And this is the exact same process we've used to help consulting clients make profitable decisions for the last 4 years, and you can use it too. So this is how you can actually really understand what you should be doing. Then you can start assigning it to yourself, any team members you have, any consultants. This makes it much, much easier to understand what you should be doing. When you use the GAP system to review Amazon presence, you can get a fresh perspective. You know what steps you need to take to get where you want to be. And this can make a huge impact on your business if you follow the plan. So please follow your own plan. If you say it, you should be following it. So last little bit is, how could Seller Candy support you? So if you are already an Amazon seller and you're doing, we say more than $20,000 a month in sales, so you're already moving, which is actually anybody on this call, if you're also looking for capital and looking for a 3PL, you can use Seller Candy. And what Seller Candy does is it gives you access to a highly experienced team of former experts and Amazon employees who are all collaborating on your account. So it's getting a team of people that know more than we do, or know more than you do, who can actually solve the problems. So we're not limited anymore by the fact that we have to train people. There's no training, there's no hiring, and there's no HR. Our system gives you unlimited tasks, which means you can submit an unlimited number of things to our team every single month. And we can do any task inside Amazon Seller Central, excluding PPC, strategy, and content creation. So we'll do anything that you can interact with Amazon about. You get 1 business day turnaround. And the way that our system works is you can submit unlimited tasks to us, and our team works on 3 at a time. So we have this cool prioritization system. You can use us, basically, you submit it to us. Once it's submitted to us, we will never send you a templated response. We're on Amazon, but we will get to the result for you and keep you updated. And because you've submitted it into our portal, you never need to remember anything again or keep it on like a piece of paper on your desk. You get now actually monthly Amazon account reimbursements for a small extra fee. And you get 2 Amazon marketplaces for the price of 1. So if you're working in, say, for example, the US, we'll do all of North America. So North American remote fulfillment, we can support you setting that up with Mexico and in Canada as well. We'll also help you with inventory projection. So our team are awesome. They'll work with you to work out proper inventory projection and make sure you do not run out of stock, because that's the worst thing for an Amazon seller. So if you want to add expertise to your team without the hassle of hiring, if you want to have a specific problem solved that you're having right now, then for sure we can help with that. And if you want to know what the steps are to get more out of your Amazon business. So actually, if you join, we do a gap analysis for you as well. So the process I just went through, we'll do that for you. And we'll jump on a call, talk you through absolutely everything so that you know what you should be working on in your Amazon business. And then if you're working with us, we also, you can just give it back to us and we'll do it for you for the stuff which we can do. So there isn't strategy or content creation. And this replaces the idea of a single team member with a full team of experts that won't break the bank and that's always available because you have a team. No one goes on holiday, no one leaves, no one needs retraining. You just have access from your credit card. So if so, the Seller Candy expansion system is right for you. As I said, we have a custom portal. So you sign in over here and you have this portal here. It has a link to our menu of services at the bottom, which is the thing I showed you at the start and is also on our menu of services page on our website. And as soon as you've submitted a ticket, it's either submitted, in progress, awaiting client response, awaiting Amazon response. And that's how you interact with our team. You just get an email when something gets updated. You fill in the categories of what you're submitting to us. Super intuitive. It's basically the same as Amazon Seller Central. And then everything becomes a thread. So you're never going to lose anything. You can track everything that's been said, and you'll also receive an email. So you can also interact through email if you want to. That's our custom portal. So if you do join, immediately upon joining, you receive an email from the team with instructions of what we need from you. That also includes a calendar link, so you can book your onboarding session. You get a private message from me with an invitation to join our Facebook group. And once we have all the details, we get to work generating the gap report for you. As well, if you join here, so this is the shortest ever few slides about this, but we give you $100 off for the first 12 months, which means that I'll show you the price in a second. Here's some testimonials. I'll skip through the testimonials. If you want to look at our website, or if you look at Trustpilot, there's a whole pile of them. That means that rather than $7.99 a month, it's $6.99 a month for the first 12 months. And you can sign up on this link here, which Rich will paste in the chat, which is Fed Masterclass. So I hope you guys don't mind me showing those slides, but it's a good way of just letting people know that this is how they can join. And that's about it from me. If there's any questions, more than happy to answer any technical questions or any questions really. I'm married. Thank you.
Sorry, it looked like it came from John, but really it was from me. I'm just logged into his account. Yeah, the link is there. Yeah, so after we're done here, I'm going to be sharing with all of you who are on the call, everyone who couldn't make it as well, the places you can go to find out more about these services. So if you want to chat with Daniel, we'll be sharing a way to get in touch. If you want to chat with Nadav, we'll be sharing a way to get in touch. And of course, you have this link here that we've just posted in the chat. If you want to have a chat with us here at Seller Candy, there's a place to book a call on there as well. And yeah, that is it, I think, unless there's any questions. I can't see any coming in. But we'll wait just a minute for any questions to come in. But other than that, great job, everybody. That was very educational. I learned a lot. And thank you guys for staying up so late. For anyone who didn't know beforehand, Daniel and Nadav are currently in Israel, where it is 2 a.m. now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy. Thank you very much for staying up and for teaching us all, giving us all your wisdom, and for you, John, of course, as well.
Thank you for having us, and it was very educational for us too. And
Excellent.
I'm sure all our viewers here have got a lot of information from everyone here. Basically, we covered whatever they need to make their business successful, I think.
Exactly. Start to finish on Amazon. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should have just had someone who worked with sourcing, and then we would have literally had start to finish. All right, guys. No questions coming in then, so we will wrap it up here. And I will, like I said, I'll share this with you guys. I'll share this with all of the people who have come along today, and everyone who signed up who couldn't make it as well. And yeah, we'll be able to share this on lots of different platforms, and the world will be able to learn from all of your collective wisdom.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Have a great evening.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Have a great day, everyone in the US, UK.